Nesreen Malik writes in The Guardian, devastation's perpetrators disqualified themselves long ago from any mandate over the people that they aided in killing and shattering. The crimes that have been committed cannot be redressed or even prevented from recurring if the conditions that enabled their perpetrators continue. She notes the absurdity of Jared Kushner telling Israelis, quote, instead of replicating the barbarism of the enemy, you chose to be exceptional, said Jared Kushner. Everyone knows they did not choose to do anything other than barbarism. Israel chose to commit genocide. But Kushner says, good job, guys. You chose to be good people. Israel still retains control of 58% of Gaza. The UN passed a resolution September 18, 2024, overwhelmingly demanding that Israel end its occupation of the West Bank and Gaza within a year. Mondo Weiss said at the end of the prisoner exchange, between 9,000 and 10,000 Palestinians will remain behind bars. Even after over 1,700 Palestinians have been released, there are still around 10,000 hostages in Israeli prisons, including 5,000 Palestinians who are being held without any charge or trial, without clear release dates under Israel's system of administrative detention. In addition, many of those released were devastated to learn that Israel had deported them instead. These are actual quotes showing that they committed genocide. No Arab will remain in Gaza. No one must inhabit this land if it is not the Jewish people. Israel should make Gaza look like Auschwitz Museum. I am for war crimes. I don't care if I'm criticized. Aid trucks continue to enter Gaza. Enough. We are too humanitarian. We have to burn Gaza down. It's not Hamas that should be eliminated. Raise Gaza. Without hunger and thirst among the Gazan population, we will not succeed in recruiting collaborators. It is an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not being involved. Those are all quotes from higher officials in Israel. Here are 5 takeaways from the ceasefire written by Jewish Voice for Peace. The ceasefire agreement brings immediate relief to Palestinians who are struggling to survive unimaginable conditions. And yeah, there's a lot of people commenting like not a real ceasefire. Yes, it is not a real ceasefire in the sense Israel is violating it. Israel's killed people since it was signed. After it was signed, the IDF was burning down parts of Gaza. But at the moment, it is far more aid and far less bombing and far less destruction and death than it was a few days ago. There is a positive to it. And I think that you can be a little too negative to just pretend it's nothing. It is something, and it's something we should support. The Israeli government has a track record of breaking ceasefire agreements, and it could still resume the bombardment at any moment. Yes, I think everyone knows that. Israel has broken all the other ceasefire agreements. Gaza has been completely devastated. Palestinians will feel the impacts of the genocide for decades to come. Yeah, even if this were a real ceasefire, and even if this really did stick, and even if Israel did fully exit Gaza, which they absolutely are not doing, let's not pretend it's okay. 94% of hospitals damaged or destroyed. 80% of water and sanitation infrastructure destroyed. 92% of residential buildings destroyed or damaged. 92% of residential buildings. 1.5% of Gaza's agricultural land remains undamaged. 1.5%. Basically, they can have no agriculture. 90% of cattle have died. Half of all sheep, goat herds been wiped out, decimating all food systems. UN estimates it'll cost $70 billion to rebuild Gaza. Number 4, this ceasefire agreement explicitly denies Palestinians the right to determine their own future, because it basically says, we will get rid of Hamas, we'll demilitarize Hamas, Hamas will no longer be in power, and we'll put Gaza under, fucking Tony Blair and Kushner and Trump will run Gaza. That's still occupation. That's still illegal. You're still committing crimes. What part of this don't you understand? No right to determine their future, and is nothing to hold Israel accountable for committing acts of genocide. Israel, of course, would not sign anything that has any level of accountability. 5, our movement's task, and they're talking about Jewish Voice for Peace, is to ensure a permanent end to Israel's genocide. What we have been demanding for the last 2 years, and to recommit ourselves to the long-term struggle for a free Palestine. And anyway, their point, which I think you guys would agree with, is the work is not done. even if this ceasefire holds, even if Trump continues to run around saying he did it, this still wouldn't be over. The work wouldn't be done. Israel Katz, the genocidal defense minister of Israel, here's what he said, translated. Israel's great challenge after the phase of returning the hostages will be the destruction of all of Hamas's terror tunnels in Gaza. To get rid of all those tunnels, what do you have to do? Well, you have to occupy all of Gaza, and you have to blow up most of Gaza, which they continue to do. He says the destruction of all the tunnels directly by the IDF and through the international mechanism to be established under the leadership and supervision of the United States. They have to keep, saying nice things about toddler Trump so that he feels good about it. This is the primary significance of implementing the agreed upon principle of demilitarizing Gaza and neutralizing Hamas of its weapons. I've instructed the IDF to prepare for carrying out this mission. Basically, he's saying, despite it being the opposite of what some of the ceasefire says, he's saying we will continue to invade all of Gaza. That's what this tweet says.